How's it going, party people? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Shannon, and if you haven't noticed by the fake lashes and the pink eyeshadow and red top, we are here to talk about love a little bit. So today is Valentine's Day, and I figured what is a more appropriate way to celebrate the holiday than to play a video game that kind of surrounds itself around love. So we're not here to talk about love between two people or penguins or even robots for that matter. Nope, today we are here to talk about the quest for love and the obstacles a little circle, coincidentally named Circle, is willing to take to find that love and find that missing piece to make oneself whole. So if you haven't noticed, the game that we are reviewing today is Journey of a Broken Circle, because I figured given that today is Valentine's Day, it seemed like a good fit, and why not? If you like today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so that you can stay in the loop on when new videos are posted to the Sailor Single Player channel. See what I did there? You know, like circle and loop. They're kind of the same thing, you know, why not? So anyway, I think that's pretty much it. So let's get into this review of Journey of the Broken Circle. Okay, so to start off, Journey of the Broken Circle is the 2020 platforming game created by Lovable Hat Cult and published by Nakano.io. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. In the game, you'll play as a little circle making your way across the map looking for your missing piece. Along the way, you'll come across a number of different characters, each with their own dialogue and part in Little Circle's journey. Some you'll chat with, others you'll actually form a super circle bond with, go about your business, and find out that it was a terrible disaster in the end, break up, and cause Little Circle to fall into a pit of despair. Kinda sounds like some of my own experiences in the dating world and attempting to complete one's own circle. Case in point, the game has some relatable moments. But while the game itself is pretty cute and the characters have their own charm to them, I found this game to be a little bittersweet in terms of the narrative and our Little Circle's friends' journey. The narrative itself felt like it was trying to cram in some deep meaning about love and the ability to love and complete oneself. I mean, from the get-go, it's fairly obvious to see Circle's arc and where the game was going to end. Granted, I did enjoy approaching each new piece ready to deploy my red flags like you know you do when you go out with your friends on a Saturday night at the bars.
Well, thank you.
Don't worry, Little Circle, I got your back. So, a little bit more on the narrative and layout of the game. Putting it bluntly as possible, the game is all about existentialism. So to give you a brief definition, because if I'm being honest, it's been a hot minute since I've been in high school English, and terms such as existentialism aren't thrown around in my day-to-day conversation. Existentialism is essentially the idea that one has control over their own development and growth based off their own choices and actions. And while I can totally get down and understand that idea, it felt like that theme at times was a bit conflicted in terms of Circle the character and the player's role in their journey. The fact is, the game is a platformer, and the player can really only go in one direction. In my view, from the player's perspective, the game is fixed, and there's really no opportunity given to the player to make dramatic choices. However, perhaps to Circle the character, it felt a little more like free will. I don't know, it seems like there are better examples of games in existentialism such as Fallout New Vegas or Cyberpunk that gives the player a little more free reign in terms of dialogue and where that leads the character instead of one direction momentum that you'd find in platforming games.
What is my purpose?
You passed butter.
Oh my god.
Anyway, language arts lesson aside, the game is still quite enjoyable to play. From its gorgeous environments and binaural beats, I like the time that I spent in Circle's little world and the journey that we got to take together. Oh, side note, touching on music briefly, I loved the soundtrack to this game. I'd constantly find myself seriously hypnotized by the soundtrack and would often just chill in a spot and take in the music for a brief moment before rolling on to my next destination. If you're a fan of Com Trues or Taicho, you may also find yourself with the same experience. So moving on, if you've noticed the gameplay footage I have, you'll notice that Journey of the Broken Circle is without a doubt a platforming game. Now, I'll admit I'm not too familiar with this type of gameplay. I think the last platform game I might have played was honestly Super Mario World. And if I'm being frank, I don't believe I actually finished the game in full, but In my defense, I was a youngin' and my attention span was still in development when I was playing on my grandparents' Super Nintendo. So yeah. Anyway, coming from a person with little to no platform experience, this game was quite approachable for me. There were some frustrating moments for sure, and some areas of the map I struggled to get around, but it was nothing that deterred me away from the game or left me in a state of rage that I had to walk away and question my life choices. I mean, honestly, that's how I determine my ratings for these videos. Do I regret my decision? No? Okay then, we're good to go. Now, given that this game was fairly easy for me to follow and had a good amount of challenge for me, others might not feel that way. Essentially, to those that are a little more experienced in the world of platforming, you'll likely find this game to be a bit elementary in terms of difficulty. At the end of the day, though, I don't think one picks up this game for the general gameplay. I think folks are going to be drawn to the story, cute characters, and funky vibes and graphics that you'll find throughout the game. For myself, I'm not really going to look back at the gameplay and think about the number of times it took me to make a certain leap or the amount of time it took my brain to rewire itself to realize the directions on the controls had now switched. On that note, this is a truly mean mechanic, and I don't wish this kind of flip on my worst enemy. For me, I'm going to remember the soundtrack of the game, how cute a simple balloon can be, and to never place your bets on a stick because odds are you're going to be left empty-handed and brokenhearted. So while I kind of wrap up here, I realize that this review is probably going to be a bit on the shorter end, which is okay. You know, in total, the gameplay can range between 4 to 6 hours, depending on your experience. Journey of the Broken Circle is still a fairly enjoyable game that I think a lot of players will enjoy and find a few hours of gameplay quite fulfilling. While the gameplay itself is quite simple and doesn't pose too much of a challenge, I think the meat of the game itself comes from its narrative and themes that surround it. And while I would question the game's overarching message and think it might have slightly missed the nail when it came to existentialism, it still gave me something to think about and question how philosophical themes such as existentialism can be used as a teachable moment in our everyday media.
I'm afraid that if I can't be happy here, then perhaps I'm the problem.
So yeah, I would give it a try, and you know, it's Valentine's Day, so who wouldn't want to see if this adorable little circle can make their way and find their missing piece? Plus, the graphics are just so hypnotizing and intriguing, it was hard not to move forward just to see where the environment leads to next. Thank you so much for tuning into my video today. What are some of your examples of existentialism in video games? Leave them in the comment box below. I hope you have a wonderful Valentine's Day, and I appreciate you for watching this video. Until then, though, I will see you all next time for the next video. Bye!